Good evening, everyone. Before we start tonight's committee meetings, I'd just like to take the time to remember one of our fellow friends and legislators, John Chessie. You're all familiar with him. You all knew he was a great guy. He brought a lot of good discussion, well-thought discussion to our meetings. Sometimes he was funny, sometimes he was direct, but he'll be missed. So if we could just take a few seconds and have a moment of silence for John Duchessis. Thank you. Is there anybody else that has anything they'd like to say about John? If not, thank you. Go right on to our agenda. Chair.
I'd like to call the Physical Services Committee to order, the group as a whole, and open the floor with a discussion. Being that we don't have any, I'm going to go to the first resolution. Resolution authorizing the county executive to enter into agreements with the generator placement at Benner Road. Discussion, looking for sponsor, or I'll sponsor it, looking for a second. Legislator Kelly. All those in favor of moving it to a full board, say aye.
Chair. Any discussion? Do we have that, says that the funds are for the generator or in the project budget. Do we have a copy of that somewhere, of the budget? I know there was, originally we passed the resolution to put money into it, but is there an actual budget that we've?
I have a spreadsheet, legislator suite, that shows every actual invoice that's gone out against that project, and every time you authorize to add more money to it, and I'd be more than happy to forward that to you all tomorrow morning.
That'd be great, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yep, and like I said, there is plenty of appropriations in there covering the project.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
All right, all those in favor of moving it to full board, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? So moved. All right, resolution number 3, resolution amending the 2023 budget engineering services for common road bridge rehabilitation, public works.
That's fine, too.
Legislator Sweet. Over here. And
Me.
all those in favor of moving it to a full board, say aye. Opposed? Abstained? So moved. Next resolution, appointing a member to the Montgomery County Sanitary District 1 Board of Directors.
That's sponsored.
Legislator Kelly, Legislator Sweet. All right. All those in favor move to full board, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? So moved. Item number 5, resolution authorizing the county exec to sign a 2023 insurance renewable contract with Montgomery County Sanitary District 1. Legislator Sweet, Legislator Allen. All those in favor of moving it to, or is there any discussion? All those in favor of moving it to full board, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained? So moved. Resolution number 6, resolution authorizing the county executive to sign an agreement between the Gloversville-Johnstown Joint Wastewater Treatment Facility and the Montgomery County Sanitary District 1 for sludge treatment and disposal. Maria? And Legislator Bertha? Bob? Okay. Any other discussion?
Chair.
Yes.
You know, we've had discussions on this in the past, and we're going to bring it up again. You know, I really don't see any reason for us to be involved anymore with the sewer district. Should we have some talks or talk amongst ourselves about whether we need to be doing this, or they'd be better off to do this on their own? I'm assuming that they'd probably be better off for grant purposes if they were their own entity. Maybe Matt, you might want to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm open to it. We haven't heard that, any willingness to look at that from that board. That would be the first place to go for me, just to see what the thoughts were there. I know we got a couple members on the board. You know, if that was something that the legislature wanted us to pursue, I'd be happy to work on that. The separation, but
Yeah, I know
I think
we-
there's some legal and financial reasons in which they have to, that has kept us in this spot.
I think there would have to be some sort of legal change there. But we have had discussions at that board, and for the, mostly for the specific purpose of, like legislator, Cal said, grant purposes, where when we apply for a grant, we're clumped together with the whole county, as where if it was just the district, it would be just the people, served by that district, so it would be, we'd have a better chance of getting grants at that point, but I don't know what it would all be entailed to separate, so it'd be worth, a discussion anyway.
I would think the first step would be having a feasibility study and getting all that detail out on paper, and then we could make an informed decision, but I'm guessing you're gonna probably look at 10 grand, so in that ballpark at least, to get someone to, put stuff together.
At the end.
I can take a look, we could even do an RFP and see what the cost would be, you can make a decision at that point.
Sean,
First question, I don't believe is possible, because I believe this is going back 15, 20 years, it's been looked into. Because it crosses 3 separate town lines, it has to be
Under
under the auspices of the council.
larger
I'm not saying it can't be done, but I don't believe legally, I would hate to see us go do a bunch of studies and spend money if it's dead in the water on a ride.
We can take a quick look and then get back to you.
I think the first step is to legally ask the state if something like that, because I know in the past, when I first started, they had discussions about that of separating from the county, and I don't believe legally we could do it because of the setup that it includes
Three
towns of Kansas, Palatine, and Minden.
Thank you.
okay. All those in favor of moving to a full board, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? So moved. Anything under other to discuss?
Yes. I wouldn't typically do this, but you all know that I wear another hat as the Town of Minden supervisor, and I just wanted to take a minute to thank Eric Mead and the Montgomery County DPW crew who have gone above and beyond to help the Town of Minden throughout our tragic fire and everything that they've been doing for us. So thank you, and I just wanted to publicly let you know that.
All right. Motion to adjourn. Shirley Kelly, legislator Sweet.
Eight. Okay.
Okay, we call the Economic Development Planning Committee to order at 6:08. First thing on the agenda, discussion on it. Does anyone have any discussion for this committee? Hearing none, I'll move right on to the first resolution. Resolution supporting the application for solid waste infrastructure for recycling grant program for political subdivision of states and territories. Any sponsor? Mr. Wilson, second. Chairman Patel, discussion?
Chair, we had a discussion about this earlier, and there's a question about the feasibility of doing it based on the data that we received. We talked in the meeting about going through with the application when we find out more information about what's going on, whether we can make it feasible, and if it comes to the point where a grant is approved, then we can make the decision then whether to accept it or not. Is that correct, Corey?
Well, I don't have the grant specifics, but my recommendation would be if the county did want to, if we got it funded, I don't think the county should, that's not the time to evaluate it. I think, I don't like the idea of getting funded and then going back and saying, we're not interested. It's my opinion that with all the contracts I've done, federal and state, there was no commitment until the contract was signed. So that statement would be true. but I'd rather not go after a grant if there's no intention, or we're not sure whether or not we want it or not.
So you're saying that there's a risk, if you don't mind,
Go ahead.
you're saying that there's a risk of setting a precedent by going through with it with not high,
Yeah, and, you know, we do other, the county does other business with the EPA, that's correct, yeah. So, you know, I think we wanna make sure that we maintain a strong core with the EPA, and not look at a grant opportunity and then say, yeah, you know, thanks for funding it, but we're not really interested.
so, and there's a deadline for this application?
Yeah, the deadline is February something, February 15th.
So we won't be meeting again?
So, you know, we have to apologize, Alex got this grant opportunity sent over to the county soil and water, because we were talking about different composting ideas in the county, and we looked at doing schools and hospitals and things like that. And then this opportunity came along, so economic development sent over to our office and said, hey, you know, this is something we should pursue. So I think it's a pretty decent opportunity for the county. You know, so the question is, we had 1 month, it was gonna be in January, the deadline was in January, they moved up to February. So there wasn't a lot of time to sit down and, you know, figure out all the details and whether or not we're gonna have enough waste, whether or not we're gonna reduce our waste stream. You know, there's a lot of questions that would go along with actually starting a facility. And we did go to the town of Bethlehem, because they've been doing this for 22 years, and it was an impressive site. And they run the entire facility with one man, you know, so they have a population of 22,000, was it 22,000, Alex? 22,000 people, and the amount of compost that was removed from the waste stream is impressive. The sad part was we were hoping to get some information. They don't calculate the tonnage going in, they don't calculate the tonnage going out. They just take all this waste in, compost it, turn it, and then people come in with pickup trucks, they shovel it on with shovels. Landscapers come in, they load it with the front end loaders, and it's, you know, but there was no real calculation from the town on how much refuse was taken out of the waste stream and that kind of stuff. So we didn't get a lot of valuable information other than see you could manage a facility for 22,000 people with one full-time employee, and they had a part-time guy manning the booth, and they just charge you a $7, I think it was $7 pickup truck load of compost to go out, and then they charge you about a dump truck load to come in.
Do we know if this is a reoccurring grant, or is this just a one-time grant?
We don't know if it's recurring. This is the first year, I believe, so.
Well, the only issue that I would see, if this is a one-time grant, that would kind of lock, I mean, if you start the program and we receive an $800,000 grant next year, you know, we're on the hook for the whole million.
If I could say a word,
Sure.
Chairman.
Please.
I've been involved in some of these discussions regarding the composting grant. I know economic development has done a lot of research and field trips and that sort of thing in the short amount of time that they've had. I believe the way that the application is set up to be structured is to focus on equipment and that kind of thing. That could help the county get off the ground, so we don't need to know specifics about tonnage in, tonnage out necessarily. I think there's, how much savings did you identify potentially, Alex, in the first
29,000.
year?
Yeah, you know, based on some kind of rudimentary, you know, math really, based on some other municipalities, I came up with potentially around $120,000 a year with the current tipping fees. But you know, that was based on a report from East Chester, you know, very different county, different sound types than we have in some ways. But I did use their low end estimate to be safe, and you know, even half of that, you could imagine some type of savings.
So that would be, the savings would be identified, and most of the money would be going towards getting equipment. So it would be equipment the county would need for a startup, and with the rising cost of waste that I know has been an issue that's come up here multiple times, waste disposal, tipping fees going up. Part of the incentive, and I believe part of the rationale that's going into this grant, which is incredibly difficult to get anyway, is looking for alternatives to try and avoid the increasing cost of waste disposal. And also, in addition, as you know, our costs are going to just continue to go up because of the landfills filling up and us losing space. So looking to be preventative and to try to avoid increasing costs in the future. So just, that's what I know briefly about this grant is, we're, working with economic development on it a little bit.
So the risk is this, the risk versus reward on this is this. We would have to put up $200,000, $100,000 in kind, we can use services, and $100,000 investment in cash. The issue that I have with it is the reward is predicated on information that was looked at a short period of time because of the sense of urgency to do this grant. So, you know, my concern is just that we have $100,000 in cash and $100,000 in kind services, and it may or may not be a successful program. The data that I saw was predicated on Westchester County, which has a more wealthy community that has people mowing their lawns and picking up the grass clippings and leaves, where if we predicated on the use in the city of Amsterdam, Amsterdam is not big on using vendors to do lawn mowing and leaf raking, and I don't think you can, I just don't feel confident that you're going to get, well, it was predicated on 1,200 tons of waste coming in, correct? It was like 840 pounds per household in Westchester.
That's right.
Correct?
Yeah, it was based on, I took the average tonnage per household, the low end in Eastchester, multiplied that by the amount of single-family homes in Amsterdam. So, right, it'd have to be basically full adoption by all of the single-family home types. I didn't include any schools or institutional facilities. It was just that one housing type.
But it was just grass and leaves, no food waste.
Correct.
And things. Certainly, my other concern is that whether it's a really healthy system or it's non-invasive or anything, but when we talk to neighborhoods about what they're putting in their neighborhood, and you talk about anything to do with waste, I think that you're going to get some pushback.
Yeah, so the only other thing I'd add to it, I know we've had a lot of discussion over the years about solid waste, and it's an issue in which there's not a lot of options. It kind of stinks, frankly. You know, this is going to be a risk. It likely will cost money, but I think we need to think about the big picture, that if we ever do want to start a composting program, this is the time. And if we don't, that's fine. For me, it's either way, I'm fine with it, but you know, this is our moment to do that, and we've talked about trying to pull stuff out of the waste stream and things like that. So I think for me, it's more of a, you know, if we really want to go down this road, because it might be rough for a couple of years, but it could turn into something that could be a great service for people, especially those that are picking up and using it for fertilization and things like that. So, you know, either way, I'm fine, but you know, in that solid waste discussion, it's just been a tough one over the years, and so that's why we wanted to jump on it. I think the team does a great job of looking at grant opportunities and really did a lot of work in a very short period of time to try to, you know, get the information here, and, you know, we'll take it from there.
Whatever way you decide, I think that it's time that we do have these discussions about a waste stream and what we're going to do in the future.
Check out.
Have we talked with Gotta Do on an estimated amount of product that we would be taking out? Like,
Well, I think that's the big question mark, because there was a pilot program years ago in Amsterdam, and it appears that Amsterdam is not willing to separately collect, you know, grass, clippings, stuff like that. But as far as what's happening at the landfill, we have not had a conversation with Gotta Do yet, as far as pulling things out, and I'm not sure how much would. Did we look at that at all, Alex, as far as what's just being taken to the landfill? Because we were looking at the numbers based off of a pilot collection program, and it didn't exactly jump off the charts, but it's a new program as well, so sometimes these things don't, changing habits is different. That's why I think it would be a long-term type of thing. But like for me, like, you know, I used to send grass to the landfill, but if, you know, you're just leaving it out outside, you got collection and stuff like that, I mean, that's supposed to take time to sink in.
So how many pounds per household for Montgomery County?
Say,
How many pounds per household?
so we don't know what Montgomery County or the city of Amsterdam would look like. Again, my numbers were based on the low end estimates for Eastchester, which was around 800 pounds for the year, which, you know, predominantly in spring and mostly in the fall.
That's a lot of leaves and grass.
Yeah.
I mean, in my opinion, I travel this county throughout the whole county, and the only place that I ever really see leaf pickup are in the villages, Village of Pellet Bridge. I think Fort Wayne, Nelliston does it, but they all have their own, landfill, well, not landfill, but where they take dry and clean waste. So I don't know how you would come up with enough product to make this worthwhile. That's just my opinion.
I think it's a little bit of a leap of faith. There isn't any data to say that we do well. There isn't.
Right.
And even in the city of Amsterdam, that's where you really look to try and find that volume. And it's safe to say that if we did go this route, there's nothing that we're gonna find our data that says we're gonna get what we needed, but, you know, just wanted to bring it to your attention to see if it was a priority and something that we wanted to pursue and sort of take that little bit of leap of faith.
Well, I think we definitely need to start thinking about solid waste, but I'm not sure that I don't know that there's that much of this type of waste that's going into the stream from most people. But again, that's just my opinions. Any other discussions? Corey?
So on this particular grant, the county isn't required to buy in at all. You can go down to zero, so you have some options where you can, and they said the application may not be as competitive, so you can go down to $100,000 in kind, or you can go to zero in kind, or, but I do, right now, the commercial industries are required to take their waste out of the waste stream, so Price Chopper, Hannaford. It's, the schools and hospitals don't have to take their food out of the waste stream yet. So I do think that there's going to come a time where removing those organics out of your waste stream is going to come through, whether it's 5 years or 10 years, we don't have that answer, but, Schenectady County's been doing this for probably 30 years or better. And Johnstown, City of Johnstown does it, and it's a voluntary situation where people come in individually, there's no people there, and they put their organic waste in and the city comes and takes it once a week, once a month. So I think that you can say you'd like to put the application in and just go down and not put any county money in, or, we'll take it to $100,000 a year in kind. I do think that there's an opportunity with the grant to get yourself off the ground without a lot of county investment if you choose that way. But, and we don't know how competitive the grants are gonna be either.
What's it, Kelly?
Is there a way to, in this grant opportunity, to have our in-kind be paying for a feasibility study?
Potentially. The problem is, there are elements of, you can design a site, and there's some, I'm not sure about a study specifically, but there were funds for, if you need to do, blueprints for some site work for a facility and that other thing, but, then if we do use the in-kind for the study, and we end up having to give funds back, then, obviously we'd be we'd just be funding the study with cash, because, we wouldn't be able to use the grant for a product that we don't end up finishing, so,
But of that 100,000 of cash, not the in-kind, but the cash, would the feasibility study count towards that 100,000 of cash?
I think potentially, yeah. I'd have to double check the grant, but potentially.
say one more thing since we're on the discussion of solid waste and issues that are coming up. Unfortunately, our commissioner of DPW has left, but one thing he's brought to my attention recently, on one of my recent trips to the transfer station for a lawsuit that came up, that one thing that's becoming an issue is that we're getting tractor trailer loads full of cardboard and light material. Now, we, unfortunately, the way we're set up right now, when we are taking care of our solid waste, we are trucking it, and we're paying extra amount per mile with fuel surcharge and everything else. So trucking is really becoming an expensive portion of waste disposal for us. So when our tipping fees are based on per pound, but when we get a truck full of something very light, like cardboard or something light, we are paying the same amount to truck it as we would something that is heavier, like a garbage bag. It takes up more space, so we're paying more actually to truck lighter things like cardboard or grass clippings and that kind of thing, because of the fuel surcharge. So one thing that the commissioner has brought up to me that he has mentioned the legislature should look at is for possibly making some kind of rule about if you're bringing cardboard, if you're bringing something lighter to our waste transfer stations, binding them together so that they're not just loosely taking up an entire tractor trailer that we're now paying extra to truck down the thruway, that we're not getting the tonnage, we're not getting our tonnage fee on it because it's big and bulky and takes up more space. We're paying more to truck big bulky cardboard things than we are like bags of garbage. So that's one thing he's mentioned that he would like the legislature to review. If that's something you would like me to work on, please just give me that direction.
Sean, there's no market for cardboard anymore, is there? I mean, I know there used to be, but plastic, cardboard, it's pretty much all going to the landfills now. That's unfortunate.
Now they have you fibers, you want to put it in a compost facility as well.
Just in reference to we're paying by the ton, and we're paying a surcharge on the tonnage. The cubic yard measurement, whether the load is fluffy or not, I don't think it's running up your cost, because you're not paying on volume, you're paying on weight.
But we're trucking, we
On
can
weight.
only, but we can, we're charging the difference is we're not recovering the cost on the tipping fee because it's light, so we're not getting the same amount of the tipping fee to balance off that trucking. So when we're trucking it, for a tractor trailer full of cardboard, I don't know the exact numbers, but say a tractor trailer full of cardboard weighs in at $10 versus a tractor trailer full of garbage bags is gonna weigh in at $100. So that's the difference. We're losing money because it's light and because it's not, we're charging per ton, and you have something that weighs next to nothing, it's taking up a lot of room, and we're paying to truck it without recouping the cost. Am I moving my arms enough to be convincing?
We'll have a discussion about that at a different time. I don't have nothing else, I won't belabor this conversation.
Yeah, I just wish and I understand it's a short time frame for the grant, I just wish we had more time to discuss it, that's all. Any other further discussion on this? Not all those in favor, move to the full board? Aye. Opposed? Abstained?
Wait. Okay.
All right. So we'll move on to the next resolution. Resolution appointing members to the county planning board. Any sponsor? Legislator Pep. Legislator Pep. Chairman Patel. Discussion?
Chair, Legislator Allen, there's an opening in your district and also in your district. If you guys could maybe start reaching out to people to see if you can have someone to serve, that'd be great.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? So carried. Next resolution is a resolution amending the 2023 operating budget, the 2022-2023 Snowmobile Trails Grant and Aid Program. I'll sponsor, need a second. Legislator Kelly, discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? So carried. Anything under other pertaining to this committee? If not, need a motion to adjourn. Legislator Kelly, so moved. Thank you, Corey.
All right, I'd like to call to order the Health and Human Services Committee of the Montgomery County Legislature. It is Tuesday, January 17th at 6:30 PM. This is committee of the full legislature. First on the agenda is discussion. Hearing none, we'll move right into the resolutions. A resolution amending the 2023 operating budget, NYSDOH 2022 Local Health Department Performance Incentive Award, Public Health. Do I have a sponsor?
I'll sponsor.
Legislator Chairman Bertal. And Legislator Pat. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Moves to the full legislator. A resolution amending the 2023 operating budget, public health. Discussion?
I'll sponsor.
Legislator Wilson? Legislator Sweet? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Resolution authorizing the county executive to sign an agreement with the city of Amsterdam Social Services. Sponsored Legislator Pat. Second,
I'll second.
Legislator Sweet. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
So that's what our placemat is about?
Yes, Chairman, that is what our place
Very nicely done.
Are there ads on the other side?
has. Tell GLT Section 21.
Yeah.
Pat's up for adoption.
Yes.
Any abstentions? That was to the full. Resolution authorizing the county executive to sign a contract with Steuben County Department of Social Services. Social Services. Any sponsor? Legislator Wilson? Legislator Sweet? Discussion?
Would you mind explaining this a little bit?
We're past that resolution, but certainly, I will.
No, not the placemat.
No, I think he wants.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, look,
The city.
that's not me, that's the other.
Oh, I'm sorry.
As far as the Steuben County Department of Social Services or any other like institution, we get subsidized via a grant, $50,000. So if a placement is made, we get subsidized up to $50,000. Once that money is spent, then we receive 50% reimbursement from the state for any placements beyond that amount. We have no control over those placements. If the judge says that a child goes to a particular non-secure facility, they have to go. We have no control over that. Obviously, we do everything we can to keep those things from occurring, but again, when the court says they have to go, they have to go. So again, grant for $50,000, and then after that point, we get subsidized up to 50% of what we.
For the program.
Right, and again, these are not that frequent.
So how does Steuben County fit into that?
Well, there's some facilities in the state, Steuben being one, Rockland County being another, that have facilities that are authorized to take these placements.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Oh, that's actually.
Resolution accepting Adult Protective Services Grant, Social Services. Need a sponsor? Legislator Kelly and Legislator Pat. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? And resolution accepting rental supplement program funding, social services.
I'll sponsor.
Legislator Wilson, seconded by Chairman Pat. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? resolution accepting transportation initiative funding, social services. Legislator Sweet, Legislator Papa. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? And that will move to the full legislature. Is there anything under other that any members would like to discuss?
You did a fine job on your first meeting.
Thank you. Hearing just that, I need a motion to adjourn. Legislator Kelly, Legislator Allen. Meeting is adjourned at 6:35.
We will call the Public Safety Committee to order at 6:35. First thing on the agenda is discussion. Anyone have any discussion pertaining to this committee? If not, move on to the resolutions. First resolution is a resolution amending the 2023 operating budget, gifts, and donations. Any sponsor? So Kelly, what are you?
Who's next?
Any discussion? Hearing none, all's in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? So carried. Next resolution is a resolution amending the 2023 operating budget, 2021. Is that typo?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, 2022.
Got a zero extra there. Statewide Inoperable Communications Grant Program. I'll sponsor in a second. Legislator Pep. Discussion. Sheriff, you want to fill us in on this at all, or is this public safety?
Sure. It's a statewide interoperable communications grant. It is to do a new building at our microwave tower site on Sanders Road in the town of Minden. And it's to beef up the current tower at the sheriff's office and hopefully instruct a new tower at Latimer Hill.
This is strictly for radio.
Strictly for emergency radios for fire, EMS, police, DPW, and school districts. 100% grant, zero match funds.
That's what we'd like to see.
Yes.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? So carried. Next resolution is a resolution authorizing the county executive to sign an agreement accepting the FY 20, got a couple extra twos. We got a little finger heavy.
Not I.
State Homeland Security.
It'd probably be me. What was the typo on the last one?
Same thing.
It was the
An
extra
extra
zero or
zero.
something.
a few centuries
Oh,
ago.
yeah. Hey, there's a lot going on.
State.
Long contract.
Yeah, State Homeland Security Program, grant funds amending the 2023 operating budget. I need a sponsor, Legislator Pep, Legislator Kelly. Discussion, Sheriff?
I'm so confused. No, this one is actually a shared grant with emergency management. So this one we work together on, again, full grant, zero match funds, and it's to provide things like, I think holding uniforms is swiftwater rescue stuff. Motor vehicle equipment is for a trailer, the auxiliary vehicle is for a shared service between the two agencies, side by side, with tracks for winter and summer use. Computer equipment is a patrol car computer. Computer software is something to strengthen our network firewall at the sheriff's office. Medical supplies are kits that are being purchased for every school district that are, in case there's a large-scale emergency, they're going to be provided to each school and placed in strategic locations. And special supplies is materials to give out to the public at events. Shooter safety, flood safety, things like that we've experienced in the county. Correct, Jim?
Yes.
Yeah.
Everything to add? No? Okay. Perfect. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? Next resolution, the resolution amending the 2020 operating budget, carryover grant funds, emergency management, sponsored by Legislator Kelly, second by Legislator Wilson. Discussion. Want to add anything?
Just as, for I'm responding, so this is for text messaging for all our fire departments, police, sheriff's office, AFD and GAVX, so it's real-time texting. This is, we already have this in place, this is a carryover to continue our contract with Ag Responder. 100% grant, no compromise.
This is text between agencies or between the public?
Text from our 911 dispatch center to all of our departments, GAVAC, Sheriff's Office, and APD.
Not the public?
Not the public, no.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, so carried. Next resolution is a resolution authorizing the county executive to sign an agreement accepting the FY 2020 State Hazardous Materials Program grant funds and amending the 2023 operating budget. Any sponsor? Legislator Pep, Legislator Wilson. Discussion?
So this is a hazardous material grant, so this is for consortium between Fulton, Montgomery, and Scarry County. This is for training and equipment to outfit our hazmat team throughout the counties. 100% grant, nothing for that.
Again, that's what I'd like to see. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all's in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained, so carried. Next resolution is a resolution amending the 2023 operating budget with carryover forfeiture money. Sponsor need a second, Legislator Kelly. Discussion. Hearing none, all's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, so carried. Next resolution is a resolution amending the 2023 operating budget with forfeiture monies. Need a sponsor? Legislator Kelly. Second, Maria. Discussion? Hearing none, all's in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, so carried. Anything under other? Hearing none, motion to adjourn?
Yep.
Second, Kelly. Legislator Allen.
All right. I'd like to call the Education and Government Committee meeting to order at
6:42.
6:42. Open the floor for any discussion. Hearing none, there is a discussion item here. You've been equipped at the instruction of Chairman Pertel with a folder full of bylaws, rules and procedures, and schedule, and all that kind of information. Legislator Pertel, is there anything you want to add? Any narrative on this?
I had talked to Megan in the past about preparing to do a presentation. I don't know if she's prepared to give a short, or we can do it next month if you prefer.
I'm happy to do a short or long, whichever you decide. Short?
Let's have it. Be abridged version.
Cliff notes.
All right, extra Cliff Note version. So you guys have a copy of the charter that Cheryl gave you that goes through the duties of the Montgomery County Legislature. Cliff Notes version is, you guys are the policy makers, you do appropriations, you basically are the purse strings of the county. You do policies, and you also, your other big key role is positions of employment. You can grant them and take them away. And those are the major ones. If you have any specific questions, I'm happy to answer those too. Is that short?
The great abridged version.
I could have gone shorter.
Thank you.
But if there's ever any questions, you guys can always call me too, and I'm happy to give you the non-abridged version or get into more detail on anything. So I'm always here.
I would like it in a podcast.
Podcast. Easy there. No one wants to see me in a podcast.
It's only here. It's only here.
I would like y'all to study the parliamentary procedures of running a committee, please.
I'd like a clerk to keep up with whoever's running the committee.
Okay.
And if nothing else, we have a handy reference tool whenever we get into one of our rules and procedures arguments.
That's right.
All right. Thank you. Moving on, our first resolution authorizing and approving a settlement agreement to an action relating to the opioid crisis. Legislators Kelly and Kowalczyk. Discussion. Now, is it me, or does the dollar amount in this 253 kind of dovetail with the
and I see the word opiate up here, yet Sarah walked out. Is this how we're gonna spend this money when we get it?
I told Sarah I would handle any questions. Would you like the short version or the
Sure.
long?
But I mean, there is a relationship here between opioid and opiate, and 253 and 238, I see on the bottom here.
So,
Okay.
so we've approved other settlements before in the same lawsuit. So this is the one where the counties joined together. We had a class action against the drug manufacturers. The settlements are starting to trickle in. I believe this is our third one. So this is with new entities. So the placemat that Sarah gave you outlines what we're doing with other funds from a previous settlement. And so once we accept this settlement, we'll have to come up with a new plan for those funds.
Okay.
But it will follow a similar rubric. Some of them will be to go into the general fund, and some of them we will have to use for programming, such as what Sarah's identified.
Got it. Any other questions for council on that? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Carries to next week. Our next resolution, appointing a member of the legislature to Cornell Cooperative Extension of Fulton Montgomery Counties Association Board of Directors. Do I have a sponsor? Herbie, Legislator Allen, Legislator Sweet. Discussion.
We have to.
Who do we want to amend in this, and whose name do we want to put in here?
I think
Is it
Legislator
Kelly, as it has been in the past? All right, I'd like to propose an amendment to this resolution, entering the name Legislator Martin Kelly on the resolved line. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Chairman Fertel, discussion on that. All in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Now all in favor of the resolution as amended? Thank you. Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. We'll move that to next week. Our next resolution, confirming members of Montgomery County Criminal Justice Coordinating Council from the Office of Probation. Do I have a sponsor? Legislator Kelly. Chairman Patel. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Our next resolution, confirming appointments to the Montgomery County Soil and Water Conservation Board of Directors. I'll sponsor that. Do I have a second? Legislator Allen. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Madam Chair,
Oh.
you need an amendment to put 2 county legislators in under the
Oh, I'm
resolve
sorry.
clause.
Do we have to amend, or can we just insert?
Wait, you can just insert them, yes.
Okay, so we can just.
Yeah, that's right. What am I saying? Guess I should look at those rules and procedures. Why do we need to? We have each other and we got council, right? One big happy family. What do we want to put in there?
It's been Legislator Headwell and myself for the last.
So the existence of your names above the resolved line doesn't, I mean, we're just reappointing you? Okay, I see the dates there. All right, okay. It's a date thing. All right, so is everybody okay with us reinserting Legislator Headwell and Legislator Kelly's names there? Sure. All right, so all in favor of this resolution with those continued representatives from the legislature?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, that moves on to the next week's meeting. Our next resolution, appointing member Montgomery County Law Library Board of Trustees. Legislator Kelly. Legislator Wilson. Do we have any volunteers?
Would you like to?
Chair, I believe that was this the one that was Legislator Headwell, or was it the other one?
Well, I think the last year or so. Duke did it for a while, I did it once before, earlier in my tenure here, but yeah, I was thinking of inserting my name here, since I'm on this committee, and I'm retired and everything, I got nothing else to do, right? Except run the hospital and everything else, but
I'll second that.
All right. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, that carries. Next resolution, appointing member Montgomery County Jury Board. I'll sponsor that. Do I have a second? Legislator Sweet. I guess I'll put my name in this one too. How's
Does
that
it get
sound?
you out of jury duty?
Oh, I'm liking that one even better. Can I get an automatic renewal on this for the next 3 years? All right.
8 years credit.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, that one moves to next week. Our next resolution, appointing member of Montgomery County Agriculture and Farmland Protection Board. Sponsor Legislator Kowalczyk, do we have a second? Legislator Wilson. Discussion.
I served on this the last time around also.
I'm sorry, who was second?
Legislator Kowalczyk.
And Wilson.
And Wilson.
So we have to fill in a name on this?
Yes.
Oh, put in Martin Kelly's name?
Absolutely.
It's looking good. It's a nice little volley, huh? You for me, me for you. All right. All right, any further discussion?
A lot of love in this room.
Oh, there sure is. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions. All right, that one carries. And last but not least, resolution confirming the appointment of Director of Emergency Management made by the county executive. I'll sponsor this.
I'll second.
Well, I think, does Legislator Patel want his name on this one? Or, excuse me, Chairman Patel?
We're fine, we can
Full
run
board.
it, we can have the
Full
full
board.
board.
Let's do full board.
All right, let's do a full board sponsorship for this one. All right? You all right with that, Jeff?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, good.
You're
It's unanimous.
blessed,
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Congratulations.
All right, congratulations, and this,
There's a new favorite Jeff in there.
is there any further discussion on this resolution? All right, meeting is adjourned at
6:51.
6:51.
I call the Budget and Finance Committee to order. Anything on that the members of the legislature would like to discuss? Hearing none, we'll move right along. The first resolution that we have is resolution authorizing the sale of real property acquired by tax foreclosure, Village of Nelliston, Town of Palatine. Can I get a sponsor? Legislator Sweet, Legislator Kowalczyk. Discussion, hearing none, all those.
In the past, we thought set a precedent that, and that this may be the amount, that the entity taking title to the property would pay the back taxes that were due on the property.
Just terrific. One of these properties is at Poach Estate property located next to the village school that they're doing their project with. The yearly taxes on that are $7.50.
Good answer.
And the other is a property that they're looking to do their own village composting facility, and those taxes are the balance.
Minimal.
We're gonna get into a composting discussion again?
No.
Not here.
Any
It's starting
other,
to get rotten.
any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, carried. Next is a resolution amending the 2023 operating budget, electronic monitoring services to alternative to incarceration clients.
I'll sponsor.
Sponsor, Legislator Patel, or Chairman Patel, seconded by Legislator Wilson. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, carried. Next is a resolution approving abstract of audited claims.
You can't sponsor, well, you can, but I will. I'm gonna take your,
Okay.
your automatic.
Legislator Pep, second. Legislator Sweet, discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, carried. Everyone on their desk should have gotten a letter.
You gotta read the copies for it.
Yep. Our number got picked. So the comptroller is coming in and going to look at our records. I assume Cheryl told me, what, 20 years it's been?
It's
Yeah.
Been a while.
Been a
So-
while, yeah.
So they'll be here looking at some of our records.
Got this.
Yep. If you have any questions, I'm sure we can refer it to the treasurer, the executive, and the county auditor. And then we don't have a dashboard this month because it's the beginning of the year and they're closing out last year's stuff. And everyone has their sales tax.
Do you want I can give you my final tally.
You can.
All right. As of the December meeting, we were 4,517,000 over last year, year over year. These last three entries of 22 add another $1,002,000, bringing our total year over year up to about $47 million this year. And we booked 34,250 for 2022, so we're about 13 million in the black when it comes to sales tax, so another good year.
Is there anything else under other? If not, motion to adjourn.
So moved.